Cherry MX. Cherry MX switches are the OG of mechanical keyboards, and they literally invented the game. Introduced in 1983 by Cherry Corporation, the MX switch gave every key its own individual spring-loaded mechanism. Before that, most people were smashing rubbery membrane keys and calling it typing. If you've ever heard a satisfying click or felt a smooth press that just worked, chances are it was a Cherry MX switch doing its thing. Now every mechanical switch falls into one of three categories: linear, tactical, or clicky. Linear is smooth all the way down. Tactile has a bump you can feel. Clicky has both the bump and a loud click. Every brand in this video makes their own version of all three. So once you know which category you prefer, choosing a brand gets way easier. Cherry MX comes in a bunch of colors, and each one feels totally different. Red, smooth and linear, like sliding your finger on butter. No bumps, no clicks, just straight down. Perfect for gaming because you can mash keys as fast as your fingers can move and your teammates won't even hear you. Blue, loud and clicky, with a satisfying bump you can actually feel. Typing on these is like having tiny drum beats under your fingers. Fun for typing, not so fun for someone sleeping nearby. Brown, the middle child, tactile but quiet. You feel the key press, but you won't annoy everyone around you. Great if you want feedback without becoming a human metronome. Beyond the big three, Cherry MX also makes black switches, which are a heavier linear option, speed silvers with a shorter actuation distance for competitive gaming, and silent reds that dampen the sound for quiet environments. There's a Cherry switch for basically every situation. Technically, Cherry MX switches use a little spring and metal contacts to register every keystroke. That's why they're so reliable and consistent. Standard Cherry MX switches are rated for 50 million presses, and newer Hyperglide models push that to 100 million. Your keyboard might outlive your PC. Cherry MX basically set the rules for mechanical keyboards. Almost every switch you see today is trying to be like them. They are simple, dependable, and come in a variety of flavors, so you can find one that fits how you type or game. If mechanical keyboards were shoes, Cherry MX would be the classic sneakers everyone wants. They work well, look good, and never go out of style. Gateron. Gateron switches are like Cherry MX, but smoother, softer, and a little kinder to your fingers. Founded in 2009 in China, Gateron grew into one of the biggest switch manufacturers on the planet, now supplying brands like SteelSeries, Wooting, and Corsair. Their whole reputation was built on one thing: making switches that feel like Cherry MX but glide better out of the box. If Cherry MX is the classic, reliable sports car, Gateron is the same car with buttery leather seats and a slightly smoother engine. They give you the same basic feel, but with less scratchiness, less finger fatigue, and often a friendlier price tag. Reds are the linear option, just like MX Reds, but they glide down more effortlessly. Gaming or typing on Gateron Reds feels lighter and quieter, so you can mash keys for hours without your fingers feeling like they've run a marathon. Blues give you the same clicky, tactile feedback as MX Blues, but the bump is softer and the snap less aggressive. You still get the click, but it's more of a polite announcement than a public broadcast. Browns are the middle ground, providing gentle tactile feedback like MX Browns, but smoother and easier on the hands. But there's one switch Gateron fans won't shut up about: the Gateron Yellow. It's a linear switch with a slightly heavier spring than red, and in the keyboard community, it's considered one of the best budget switches ever made. Smooth, consistent, and dirt cheap. If you want to try a linear switch without overthinking it, yellow is the answer. For enthusiasts willing to spend a little more, Gateron's Ink series, especially the Ink Black V2, takes that smoothness to a premium level. Factory lubed, tighter tolerances, and a deeper sound profile that keyboard nerds lose sleep over. You get the reliability of Cherry MX, the classic feel that made mechanical keyboards famous, but with a softer touch and less scratchiness under your fingers. They're also usually easier on your wallet, which makes them perfect for first-time mechanical keyboard users or anyone who wants premium-feeling keys without selling a kidney. Logitech. Logitech switches are designed for speed, consistency, and comfort, making them a favorite for gamers, coders, and anyone who types a lot. They're not just another Cherry MX clone. Logitech put its own twist on key feel, actuation, and durability. The main switch families are Roamer G and GX. Roamer G switches are tactile and quiet, with a shorter key travel distance of about 1.5 millimeters to actuation, compared to 2 millimeters on typical MX-style switches. This means keys register faster, reducing finger fatigue in long gaming or typing sessions. Roamer G boards are mostly found in older or legacy models now, while GX switches are what you'll see in most of Logitech's current lineup. GX switches come in linear, tactile, and clicky variants, similar to Cherry MX but with faster actuation and a slightly lighter feel, making them ideal for competitive gaming or fast-paced typing. One thing that sets Logitech apart is that you can't just buy their switches separately or drop them into any keyboard. These are proprietary, meaning they only work inside Logitech boards. That's a trade-off. You get a tightly optimized experience, but you lose the flexibility of swapping switches like you can with Cherry MX or Gateron. The switches themselves are rated for over 70 million keystrokes, so durability isn't an issue. Logitech keyboards with these switches typically run between $100 and $200 depending on the model. People love them because you get a premium mechanical feel with reliability, fast actuation, and extra gaming-friendly features, all backed by Logitech's build quality. Kailh. Kailh switches are the wild cards of the mechanical keyboard world. Made by Kailh Electronics, a company founded in 1990 in China with over 200 patents to its name. Kailh has been in the switch game for over 3 decades. While Cherry MX set the standard and Gateron refined it, Kailh decided to experiment. They make the classic MX-style switches, but they also push into new designs, new feels, and some genuinely creative ideas. If a switch feels different, sounds different, or looks slightly unusual, there's a good chance Kailh had something to do with it. They're basically the keyboard world's tinkers. Of course, Kailh still offers the familiar lineup, red for linear, brown for tactile, and blue for clicky, similar to Cherry MX. Reds are smooth and straightforward. Browns give you that small tactile bump, and blues are loud enough to let everyone know you're typing something very important. Early Kailh switches were sometimes called scratchy, but modern versions have improved a lot. They're smoother, more consistent, and often rated for 50 to 80 million keystrokes, which means they'll survive years of gaming, work, and dramatic key smashing. Where Kailh really stands out is innovation. Their box switches, like the red one you might have spotted in the thumbnail, use a box-shaped stem that protects the internal parts from dust and crumbs, which is great if your keyboard shares space with snacks. 2 fan favorites in the box lineup are the Box Jade and Box Navy. These are thick click switches, meaning the click is heavier and more satisfying than a standard blue. If regular clicky switches are a snap, these are a thud. Enthusiasts love them for typing, and they've become some of the most talked about switches in the hobby. They also make low-profile switches for slim boards and speed switches with shorter actuation distances for faster response times. Price is another big plus. Keyboards with Kailh switches usually fall between $70 and $150, offering a solid mechanical feel without premium pricing. Quick question: which switch type do you swear by? Linear, tactical, or clicky? Drop it in the comments. And if you're finally understanding what all these switches actually do, hit the like button. It genuinely helps the channel. Akko. Akko switches are what happens when good performance meets good taste. They're known for colorful boards, themed keycaps, and switches that feel surprisingly premium for the price. While some brands focus purely on specs and tradition, Akko adds a bit of personality. Their keyboards don't just work well, they actually look like someone cared about your desktop. Akko mainly offers linear, tactile, and clicky switches under series like CS, Cream, and Jelly. If you've seen names like Lavender Purple, Jelly Pink, or Cream Yellow floating around keyboard forums, those are all Akko. They even make that icy light blue switch you might have spotted in the thumbnail. Akko loves a good color scheme. Their linear switches are smooth and light, often with actuation forces around 45 grams. Which makes them great for gaming or fast typing without finger fatigue. The tactile options have a noticeable but comfortable bump, giving you feedback without turning your keyboard into a noise machine. Clicky switches bring that crisp, sharp sound for people who love hearing every single key press echo like a tiny celebration. Most Akko keyboards sit in the $80 to $130 range, which is impressive considering many models include hot swappable sockets, RGB lighting, solid cases, and high-quality PBT keycaps that resist shine over time. The switches are typically rated for about 50 million keystrokes, so they'll survive years of gaming sessions, essays, spreadsheets, and rage quits. Razer. Razer switches are built for gamers who want their keyboard to feel fast, loud, and slightly dramatic. If subtle isn't your style and you like your setup glowing like a spaceship control panel, Razer's probably already on your desk. These switches are tuned for quick reactions and competitive play, because in gaming, apparently every millisecond is life or death. Razer keeps it simple with 3 main mechanical types: green, yellow, and orange. Green switches are clicky and tactile, with a sharp bump and a loud, confident click. Every key press sounds important, even if you're just typing your password wrong for the 3rd time. Yellow switches are linear and super smooth, with shorter actuation around 1.2 millimeters, which means keys register very fast, perfect for rapid movements and panic button mashing when things go sideways. Orange switches, the ones you see glowing in the thumbnail, sit in the middle, giving you a tactile bump without the loud click, making them the safer choice if other humans exist nearby. Razer also makes optical versions of these switches. Instead of metal contacts, optical switches use an infrared light beam to detect each key press. That means 0 physical contact, 0 debounce delay, and response times as low as 0.2 milliseconds. If traditional mechanical switches are like pressing a doorbell, optical switches are like breaking a laser tripwire. The signal is instant. The mechanical versions are rated for around 80 million keystrokes, while the optical variants push 90 million since there's less physical wear happening inside. Either way, they'll survive years of gaming, typing, and dramatic rage moments. And of course, Razer keyboards come packed with extras, like RGB chroma lighting, programmable macros, gaming modes, and low latency performance settings. Basically, you're not just buying switches, you're buying the full gamer experience. Price usually lands between $100 and $200, depending on the model. You're paying for performance, features, and a keyboard that absolutely refuses to be boring. Outemu. Outemu switches are the budget-friendly workhorses of the mechanical keyboard world, and chances are you've already typed on one without knowing it. Made by Dongguan Electronics in China, Outemu is one of the largest switch manufacturers globally. They supply switches to dozens of keyboard brands, which means a huge number of budget mechanical keyboards you see online are quietly running Outemu inside. If Cherry MX is premium coffee and Gateron is a fancy latte, Outemu is your trusty instant cup. It won't win awards, but it gets the job done. Outemu offers the standard lineup: red for linear, blue for clicky, and brown for tactile. Reds are smooth and light, perfect for gaming or fast typing without tiring your fingers. Blues are loud and clicky, giving that classic typewriter energy on a budget. Browns provide gentle tactile feedback without making a fuss, a solid middle ground for work or long typing sessions. Durability is decent, usually rated around 50 million keystrokes, which is enough for most casual users and gamers who don't smash their keyboards in rage. The big draw is price. Outemu switches are often found in keyboards under $50, making them a great entry point for anyone curious about mechanical keyboards without spending big time. Outemu also often comes in hot swappable designs, so you can swap switches without soldering, a rare feature at this price point. People pick them because they're affordable, versatile, and surprisingly decent for typing and gaming. HMX. HMX switches are the enthusiast's secret weapon. While most people start with Cherry MX or Gateron, the deeper you go into the mechanical keyboard rabbit hole, the faster you'll hear about HMX. Unlike the other brands on this list, HMX doesn't sell complete keyboards. They sell switches, individual switches that enthusiasts buy separately and install into hot swappable boards. That distinction matters because HMX is laser focused on one thing: making the switch itself feel and sound incredible. What sets HMX apart is factory quality. Their switches arrive pre-lubed with tight tolerances, meaning they're smooth and wobble-free right out of the box. That used to require hours of manual modding. HMS skips that entirely. They offer linears, tactiles, and clickies, but their popular models have earned cult followings. The Retro series, the Shinhai, and the Ice Lotus are all favorites in the keyboard community. Their Frog Tactile was even called one of the best tactile switches of 2025 by multiple reviewers. Most HMX switches cost between $3 and $6 per 10 switches, making them affordable for the quality. If you're looking at that dark blue and white switch in the thumbnail and wondering what it is, that's HMX, the brand you discover after you've already fallen down the mechanical keyboard rabbit hole. And that's every major mechanical keyboard switch explained, from the original Cherry MX to enthusiast favorites like HMX. Some click, some glide, and some just quietly get the job done. If you found this helpful, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Now here's the thing, you just learned about the switches inside your keyboard, but if you're using a wireless keyboard, there's an invisible spec that controls how well it actually connects. Bluetooth, 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0, 6.0. Those version numbers are on every wireless device you run, but most people have no idea what changed between them. That's exactly what we're covering next. Every Bluetooth version explained simply, what each one fixed, which one you're probably using right now, and why the jump from 4.0 to 5.0 changed everything. Click the video on screen right now, and I'll see you there.